Welcome back to Screen Explain TV. Today, we're diving deep into episode 5 of Agatha All Along. This episode is packed with dark magic, betrayal, and intense character development. So let's jump right in. The episode kicks off in 1693, set in the eerie town of Salem, Massachusetts. Here, we witness Agatha's origin story, a dark tale where the witches unite to eliminate her. The Salem Seven descend on the Witch's Road. They whisper Agatha's name, crawling through the leaf-covered ground along the winding path. Suddenly, they come across a mysterious black stone lying on the ground, hinting at dark powers and a deep connection to Agatha. As one of the witches brings the stone to her nose, we cut to Lilia, who is asleep on the ground alongside the rest of the coven. In her dreams, she sees the seven hot on their trail. With a sense of urgency, she warns, "They're coming. We have to go." She explains that they left the door to the road open after using the summoning spell in Agatha's basement. We finally get an explanation of who the Salem Seven are. Lilia reveals that when Agatha killed her original coven, she spared their children, who became, as Rio describes, a feral, hive-minded coven bent on revenge. Agatha, clearly in a hurry to escape, quips, "The moral of the story, kids, is always finish what you started." Also, mercy is overrated. But before she can escape, the Salem Seven surround them, and without their magic, they need a practical means of escape. Teen suggests using brooms, which the coven brushes off initially, but with no other options left, they reluctantly agree. They hex a few roots from a nearby tree and hurriedly start the incantation. Just as the seven are closing in, they jump on their brooms and take flight. The only way to survive is to get off the road, so they soar into the sky. However, their escape is short-lived as the road forces them back down to the ground. They quickly run into a cabin to evade the seven, and suddenly they find themselves dressed in 80s-inspired attire. The aesthetic shift is jarring but fitting for the supernatural vibe of the episode. Fortunately, it seems the Salem Seven can't enter the cabin, giving the witches a brief respite to complete the next trial. Rio notes that this is Agatha's trial, given the blood moon outside, which signifies that the veil between the living and the dead is at its thinnest. The best person to commune with the dead is someone who's put so many in the grave, she explains. Just then, Teen discovers a Ouija board and the clock starts ticking. 30 minutes to solve the trial. Teen reads the rules aloud and they begin their session. The spirit spells out Emarchart. Before they have time to process this, Agatha becomes momentarily possessed by Mrs. Hart. However, it soon becomes apparent that Agatha is just playing her usual tricks to distract everyone from her own fears and vulnerabilities. When the group calls her out, she sits down, determined to take the session seriously this time. They continue and ask the spirit who they are really talking to. The board spells out death, which sends a chill through the room. When asked what it wants, the board responds, punish. And when they ask who, it answers, Agatha. Scared, the women pull their hands off the board, but it's too late. The lights begin flickering, papers fly everywhere, and the board shoots off the table. Jen yells, punish Agatha, believing this is the only way to complete the trial. Agatha tries to defend herself, but the coven starts to agree that perhaps Agatha does deserve to be punished. Only Teen defends her, but as Jen points out, familiars don't get a vote. The lights go out, and Agatha hides from her coven. As they search for her, they hear heavy breathing, which adds to the tension. Teen looks up to discover a decrepit-looking Agatha perched on the ceiling, her skin gray and cracked, with a feral look in her eyes. She jumps down, her limbs cracking in unnatural ways, and attacks Jen, strangling her against the wall. Just then, Lilia turns the lights on, making Agatha disappear. A ghost appears, introducing herself as Evanora Harkness, Agatha's mother. She reveals that she had been possessing Agatha. The coven, realizing that ghosts typically have unfinished business, asks Evanora what she needs. Evanora tells them they must finish the Witch's Road without Agatha to truly punish her. Rio tries to refuse, but a teary-eyed Agatha asks her mother, "Why do you hate me still?" The response cuts deep, "You were born evil. I ought to have killed you the moment you left my body." Oof, this revelation leaves the group speechless. Jen insists they need to leave the cabin and abandon Agatha, but Agatha pleads for her coven to save her. Just then, Evanora possesses her again, attempting to chase the other witches out of the cabin. But Alice intervenes, summoning her powers to expel Evanora from Agatha's body, which leads to a pivotal moment. As Agatha begins to siphon Alice's powers, the Ouija board moves again. Teen rushes over, demanding to know which spirit is with them now. The answer sends shockwaves. Nicholas Scratch, Agatha's son. As time runs out on the clock, Agatha hears her son's voice pleading, "Mom, stop." The new door opens, indicating they've passed the trial, but it appears to be too late for Alice, who has been drained of her life force. Everyone, including Teen, turns against Agatha. He pleads with Jen and Lilia to help save Alice, but they tell him it's too late. They exit the cabin, and Agatha, realizing she has her powers back, attempts to explain herself. Teen confronts her, insisting that she couldn't control the siphoning, but he doesn't believe her. Meanwhile, Jen and Lilia have resigned to the fact that this was a power grab for Agatha, and they can't be mad that she seized the opportunity. Teen, angered, questions, "So that's what it means to be a witch? Killing people to serve your own agenda?" Agatha smirks, whispering, "Are you sure? You're so much like your mother." This revelation strikes a chord, and Teen's blue magic crackles from his fingertips. Jen and Lilia, whose eyes have turned blue, seemingly possessed by Teen, grab Agatha and throw her off the road, letting her sink into the mud that nearly took Mrs. Hart at the beginning. Teen then sends Lilia and Jen flying off the road as well, sinking into the ground. The camera cuts back to Teen, who now dons a crown reminiscent of the Scarlet Witch, aka Wanda Maximoff. The episode ends with the revelation of his true identity, leaving viewers eagerly anticipating the next chapter. In conclusion, Episode 5 of Agatha All Along expertly blends horror, humor, and rich storytelling, revealing Agatha's complex character and her connections to the past. Thank you for joining us for this detailed breakdown of Agatha All Along. Don't forget to subscribe to Screen Explain TV for more in-depth analyses and breakdowns of your favorite shows. We'll see you in the next video.